Hello and welcome to today's lesson. I'm your hard-working but indefatigable teacher, Mr. Burton. You will need to watch this video and take notes as you go. You may need to watch certain parts of the video a few times to ensure complete understanding. This is your homework and I will check your notes tomorrow before we get started. I hope you learned something. Okay, welcome to today's lesson, the circular flow of income. The circular flow of income, a short video which will explain it a little.
In macroeconomics, we study the economy of one country. Then try to understand how two countries interact and trade, and hopefully understand the global economy. So today, we are going to study the circular flow of income. Let's make things really simple. Imagine we are alone on an isolated island. There's no government, no trade, no savings. I told you, it's simple. There's only firms and households. Firms provide households with goods and services. Out of thin air? Nah. Firms gotta get factors of production from households. It can be labor, land, capital, or face it, some of us in households are going to be entrepreneurs. So, entrepreneurship. For free? You wish! We don't get freebies from firms. We don't provide labor for free either. So there's money flowing in the opposite direction. Households gotta pay firms for the goods they get. Firms also gotta pay households in the form of wages, rents, interests, or profits. But this is a little weird. We don't spend everything we earn in real life. So let's add savings. Savings is money we don't spend. So there's money flowing out. Hey, savings don't just sit in banks. Banks invest in firms by lending to them. Cause firms need money to buy capital equipment or cover other costs of production. So there's investments flowing into the economy. Bravo! Awesome! But this is a little too simplified. So let's add government. Government buys stuff as well. So there's money flowing in. Government gets money from taxes. Taxes! So there's money flowing out. Cause for money we are paying as taxes, we cannot spend it. Lastly, countries interact with one another. Imagine this is an American economy. Let's add trade. America imports stuff. For example, America can import shoes from China. Shoes flow from China into America, and money spent on imports flows out of America into China. America exports too. America can produce software and export it to foreigners. Money then flows from foreign countries into America. This is America's export earnings. Investments, government spending, and export earnings are called injections, because money is flowing in. Savings, taxes, and import spending are called leakages or withdrawals, because money leaks out of the system. And hey, injections and leakages are sort of related. Investments come from savings. Government spending comes from taxes. America makes money from foreigners by exporting. But foreigners also make money from America when America imports. Wow, no wonder it's circular flow of income. It tells us roughly how an economy functions. How do we measure the size of an economy then? By measuring gross domestic product, or GDP. GDP is the total value of all final goods and services produced within the borders of a country during a given period. Why must it be final goods and services? If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe. Next.
Okay, let's take the circular flow of income and make it as simple as possible. In this circular flow, there are only households and firms, so only two groups within the economy. Households are going to provide firms with the factors of production, and we know this is land, labour, capital and enterprise. And firms provide households with the goods and services they need to satisfy their needs and wants. So those are the two real flows, factors of production: land, labour, capital, entrepreneurship, goods and services. You can touch them, they're tangible. So we call them real flows. The money flows associated with between households and firms, those goods and services are bought by households, so that's expenditure on goods and services. That's the money spent with firms. And the money flow associated from firms to households are income, and these are the payments for the factors of production: our rent, wages, interest and profit, payment for the factors of production. So this is a simple circular flow model, and we don't have things like overseas sector, government and financial institutions added in yet. So you'll likely be asked to identify the four factors of production, and you will need to be able to explain that these are the income flows within the model. Now, all exchanges in the market economy take place in either the product market or the resource market, and in macroeconomics, the demand for resources by firms and for goods and services by household is met in one of these two markets. Households are the owners of productive resources, which are the inputs firms need in order to produce goods and services. Now, to acquire the inputs for production, firms must pay households for their resources in the resource market. Households earn their income in the resource market and then demand the finished products provided by firms in the product market, and it's the goods and services. The flow of resources, money and goods and services is illustrated in this model that we call a circular flow. Factors of production.
Factors of production is an economic term describing the general inputs used to produce goods and services to make a profit. Under the classical view of economics, the factors of production consist of land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Land refers to the land itself as well as the raw materials that come from the land. This includes timber, coal, precious minerals such as gold and water. It can also mean the physical area on which a factory sits. Labor refers to the workers who answer the phones, lift the pallets, drive the trucks, push the paperwork, and do all things physical and intellectual to keep a business running. Capital refers to the buildings, machines, and tools used in the process of production. Capital is anything from a fleet of delivery trucks, to a factory building, to a printing press, or a computer. Intellectual capital is defined as the technological expertise a business acquires over time, its trade secrets, and unique business processes. There is also social capital, the ability to operate because society has agreed to a system of order, conduct, and law. These elements facilitate an economic environment that allows the business to operate. Finally, entrepreneurship is the factor of production that ties the other three together. The entrepreneur provides innovation and creativity in the use of the other factors, which helps create a profitable business. For simplicity and analytic purposes, economists and analysts usually focus attention on two main factors, capital and labor. The relationship of both these factors
Right, tying together needs, wants and resources. You might remember from microeconomics, if you did that course last term, Needs versus wants. Our needs and wants are very different. We need some things just to stay alive, and these we classify as being needs. You know, water, food, shelter, being warm. But our wants are never ending, infinite. So once we've satisfied one, we move on to the next. Resources. Resources used to produce these goods and services are limited in supply, so they're finite. Wants are infinite, resources are finite, they're limited, and collectively resources are called the factors of production. So that's our land, labour, capital and enterprise. Land, labour, capital and enterprise. Land we define as being the natural resources available for production. Now some nations are lucky and have a large amount of a particular natural resource, and they're able to specialise in the extraction and production of it. And an example of this would be North Sea oil and gas in Britain and Norway. Labour is what us humans put into the production process. Not all labour is of the same quality. Each person has different skills and qualifications, and we call this human capital. When people have more human capital, they're likely to be more productive, and this means they can produce more in the same period of time. Capital means investment in goods that are used to produce other goods in the future. So capital, we're talking about investment in capital goods. Examples include machinery, plants and equipment, new technology, factories and buildings. And enterprise, all important, the idea of having ideas and taking risks and setting up and running a business. An entrepreneur is someone involved in taking those risks, perhaps by putting in their money or having the ideas and the drive to set up and run the business. The reward for being an entrepreneur is profit. Simple circular flow of income. Now remember, the income earned is spent on goods and services. Households earn an income, and in the simple circular flow model, there is nothing else to do with that money apart from spend it on goods and services. There is no room for savings. Households spend what they earn, and they spend it on goods and services. Income and expenditure are the same dollar value, because there's no savings, no taxation, no spending on imports. All income is spent. Alright, let's expand this a little bit. The simple model can become a little more complicated. Right, households provide factors of production, and they purchase goods and services which are provided by firms. Okay, this we know. But there are certain withdrawals from that circular flow of income from the households. Households will earn an income. They will save some of that income. Some of that will be taxed, and some of it won't be spent on with domestic firms. They'll be spent with overseas firms in the form of imports of goods and services. So the savings requires the economy, the circular flow model of income, to have a banking sector, a government sector, and an international trade or an overseas sector. The banking sector injects money into the circular flow through investing, allowing firms to borrow to invest to purchase capital goods. The government sector injects money into the circular flow through government spending, and the international trade allows countries to earn money for their exports, and these are all classified as injections. So withdrawals are going to decrease the amount of economic activity. These are things that will reduce the flow of money around the circular flow model. And injections are those things that will increase economic activity. Investment will boost economic activity, government spending will increase the amount of money in the economy, and the more exports a country can sell, the more money that is coming into that country. So very importantly, within the circular flow of income, we need to be able to identify the leakages or the withdrawals, and these are savings, taxes and import payments. Savings, money in the bank, that money's not being spent on goods and services. Firms are not producing as many goods and services and not employing as many of those factors of production. Taxes, again, they sit with the government. $1 spent on taxes is $1 not spent with firms on the goods and services they're providing. And import payments, this is money that is flowing directly overseas. Injections into the economy or the circular flow, we have investment. Firms investing by purchasing and spending their money on capital goods, which will produce more goods and services. We have government spending on merit goods such as education and health, roading, and the final injection, export receipts. So this is a country and economy selling their goods and services overseas and earning export receipts in the form of foreigners paying us for the goods and services that we produce. So that's foreign money, overseas money coming into the domestic economy. Withdrawals, we define them that are increases in savings, taxes or imports, so they reduce the circular flow of income and lead to a multiplied contraction of production output. This is what firms are producing, goods and services that firms are producing. And injections into the circular flow are in additions to investment, government spending or exports. And these boost the circular flow of income, leading to an increased expansion of output. Output, that's the goods and services that firms are producing.